Hey guys, Preston here. Welcome back to another video. Today we are doing our Steelers vs. Broncos preview. As you can tell, I'm in a different location than usual, and unfortunately I don't got Steelers gear on me, but doesn't matter. We're doing the preview nonetheless. So the week 2 game is at 1 o'clock Eastern Time. Pittsburgh's first home game of the year against the Denver Broncos, who've given us some trouble in the past. Let's kind of get right into this, I guess. Let's first up on the FPI, ESPN's Football Power Index. They have the Steelers with a 66.8% chance to win. I also believe the Steelers are 7.5 point favorites right now as a spread with the over/under set at 40.5. So yeah, I mean, I think Pittsburgh's a good team. They looked a little rusty to start off the year, like you could probably expect most teams kind of did. Denver looked decent. Too many as I'm sorry. The clock mismanagement at the end had me a little worried. I still don't know how much I trust Vic Fangio as a head coach. I think he was a great defensive coordinator with the Bears, but just putting it all together as a unit is gonna be tough. The other thing that kind of works out slightly in our favor is the Broncos are super banged up right now. Granted, not all enough. If you're not a Steelers fan, you might not have noticed this or heard about this yet, but the Steelers their right side of the offensive line that started week 1 is not going to be playing in week 2, as starting right tackle Zach Banner is done for the year with a torn ACL. Just had surgery on it yesterday, Friday. This is being recorded at 1:42 a.m. on Saturday and we uploaded on Saturday. As well as guard David DeCastro, who missed week 1, and his backup Steven Wisniewski, who was with the Chiefs for their Super Bowl run and has been a pretty solid player overall, also hurt his pec. Not sure how serious that. We do know he is on IR. They expect him to return at some point, but being on IR this year means you're out at least 3 weeks. So this game, the Steelers are going to be starting Chukwuma Okorafor. Just Chucks is what most of us call him because his name's fun. At right tackle, who Tomlin isn't too worried about, so I'm not too worried about. They said him and Banner was a really close competition throughout camp, and some people still say that Chucks is actually a little better in pass coverage than Banner was. So I'm not really worried about Chucks. Kevin Dotson is a beast. I thought it was a great pick coming out of college, but the reality is, I overvalue guys, and it's just the facts. The fact is, the reality is he's a 4th round draft pick tackle. So, guard. So he's a 4th round rookie. So you don't. It'd be great if he could come out swinging and look great, but there's probably going to be struggles. It's if we're just being realistic about a rookie, any rookie, but especially a rookie picked on outside of day 1 or day 2. It's even harder for them. That being said, I am pretty confident he'll do decent. We'll just have to see. And what kind of worked in their favor is the fact that Von Miller is not with the Broncos for what seems like most likely the entire season, which means their pass rush, while still good, it did give the Titans some troubles last Monday night, the same day the Steelers did. I think it's obviously not as effective as it could be. Bradley Chubb's going to be the impact player we're going to have to worry about. It all depends on where he lines up. Obviously, you would think if the Broncos paid attention, they'd probably try to target that right side, as they're going to have the rookie guard and Chucks both playing this game, which obviously they'll probably be the weaker side of the line with Filer and Villanueva holding down the left side. So we'll see how that goes. Let's hope they can step up to the occasion. Maybe they'll get some pressure on Big Ben, but I'm confident he can handle it. He's done that his whole career, shaking off guys. Did a little bit of it week 1 against the Giants, but hopefully he's not getting pressured every single down. Their defense is banged up. Like I mentioned, it's not just Von Miller. The prime matchup that we need to exploit is the fact that A.J. Bouye is out. He is on IR, which means he'll be out at least 3 weeks this year. And it also means it doesn't really matter. I wish him the best, but it means the Steelers don't have to play him, which is huge because that means that the Broncos are going to have to trot out a rookie corner and not like, a first-round rookie corner or something. I'm not even sure what his name is. I'll have to – could have done that. But either way, it's going to be a young, inexperienced, weaker cornerback room that the Steelers get to go against, which is a beautiful thing for us. Obviously, it might be a downgrade from the Giants' cornerback room, which is kind of surprising. You don't hear that usually, but the fact that the Giants had James Bradbury and Logan Ryan really helped them out. This time, Their safeties still, the Broncos safeties, mainly Justin Simmons, are still legit, but I couldn't even tell you who their two corners are, which kind of goes to show that they won't be great. And especially with Boye out, makes it even worse for them, makes it even better for the Pittsburgh Steelers. They really need to take advantage of that. They have, like I mentioned earlier, all my other previews, the Steelers offense is really built to spread the ball more now than ever. And so you have all these receivers and tight ends now who can get to take some advantage of these matchups. Hopefully maybe Juju will get to eat again. Deontay's been excellent at getting distance from him in corners. I believe he led all rookies last year in average yards of separation on his routes. So look for that to be open even more now, especially going against a weaker young secondary. The safeties will still be a problem, so maybe they'll try to eat more in the middle. I think that's probably effective. The Titans kind of did that pretty well. Corey Davis kind of had a field day picking apart that Broncos defense in the middle of the field. And so look for the Steelers to do that again. A lot of kind of gets these guys in space. Guys like Deontay Johnson can be incredibly dangerous in space. Running the ball seems to be like it'll be a bit of an issue, for being honest. I mean, Mark Barron isn't playing this game. The former Steeler who signed with the Broncos, kind of forgot he did that. They did bring in... Oh, crap. Sorry. A Steelers backup for a long time. I'm going to pause it and I'm going to get you the name. It's driving me crazy. Got it. Just thought of it before I even went to Google it. Anthony Chickalo. He won't do much, but maybe they're trying to get some more trade secrets to the Steelers defense. But if we're looking at matchups directly between the offense and the defense of the Steelers offense, Broncos defense, this Broncos defense is good. I mean, they have a very defensive-minded head coach, so he gets the most of their guys. They do a pretty good job. They effectively limited Derrick Henry pretty well. He still went over 100 yards, but the man had like 35 carries and kind of wore him down towards the end. So I expect the run defense to be pretty good this game. So honestly, if this offense wants to be really successful, the Steelers offense are probably going to have to rely on the pass a bit more. But like I said, with A.J. Boye being out, it should be even easier now. Keep it in these intermediate routes, take advantage of these rookie corners, and really kind of eat today or Sunday and take advantage of that. Look for the tight ends to get more involved. They had a relatively quiet game last week. I think both of them only had one catch, the longest being the one Eric Ebron catch for 18 yards, but they're pretty silent last night. I don't know if that was because they were using them to block more than anything, so hopefully they kind of get them involved in the passing game. It seems like a good opportunity to do so, unless, of course, they put like Justin Simmons on the tight end, and obviously that'll be a little tougher circumstance. And now if we want to go to the other side, I guess X Factors real quick. Obviously, to me, the Broncos X Factor will be Bradley Chubb. I think this is the game where you have, like I said, your right side, both your starting guys on your right side for week one, both went down last week. And so you have two new guys coming in to try to start. That's something that the Broncos defense should probably try to take advantage of. And Bradley Chubb is really coming into his own. He's a very good pass rusher. He might still be on a limited snap count, but expect him to make the most of those limited snaps. And if they're smart, they'll probably put him on that right side and try to put Chucks to the test early on in his first career start. I guess it's not technically his first career start, but he'll get the start for the season now. First career season, no start? It doesn't matter. But yeah, Bradley Chubb's my X Factor on that defense. Obviously, Justin Simmons still a dangerous guy you want to look out for. With the Steelers on offense, it's cheap, but obviously Big Ben, I mean, that's a guy you really want to see get going. Kind of picked it up towards the end of that Steelers-Giants game. 3 touchdowns, 0 picks, 21 for 32. So let's hope he keeps it going. Keep the turnovers to a minimum. That's something even his last year healthy in 2018. He led the league in passing yards, but he also threw like 16 interceptions. So hopefully this year off he really got to hone in on that and he won't be making as many costly mistakes. Obviously our defense can probably handle some. They dealt with that all of last year, but it's better for everyone if they can limit the turnovers. So Big Ben, look for him. He's going to have to kind of carry this offense today. I don't know if they'll have a 113-yard rusher like they did last week. I think they'll have to rely more on the passing game, so Big Ben's going to play a huge role there. Receiving-wise, I think Deontay, like I said, probably makes sense. He's really good in those intermediate routes, but so is Juju working out of the slot. So really any of the wide receivers, honestly, it's a crapshoot every week to me on which wide receiver will do best. We will see. I know Deontay got the most targets last week, but that chemistry with Ben really started to come on towards the end of the first half, so hopefully they can continue that. I want to see all those guys eat and get it going again. Maybe Chase Claypool can get some big plays if he ever gets the opportunity to go one-on-one with one of these young corners, I think that's a perfect opportunity, unless, of course, they have safety help. So if anything like that lines up, look for some deep balls to be thrown to really test these young rookies. I think they're both rookies. I could be wrong. They're both either side. The corners aren't great, though. I know that much, and I'm pretty sure one of them definitely will be a rookie. So we'll see. Defensive. Now, if we switch the sides of the matchup to look at the Broncos offense against the Steelers defense, I think the Steelers, it's going to be interesting to see kind of how they game plan this one. I think it makes sense for them to try to get as pressure as early and often as they can against a young quarterback in Drew Lock, who I think's only got around 8 starts under his belt. This Broncos O-line isn't great. They looked better last game than they did last year. And obviously they have a great offensive line coach in Mike Munchak who really helped make this Steelers offensive line what it was before he left us 2 years ago. Sucks. It'd be great to have him, especially now with our injuries. But they're decent, but I don't think they're anything special. I think the Steelers' defensive line still should be able to take advantage of those matchups, and they expect them to get to that quarterback. If they blitz like they did last week, get real creative with it and have some fun, I think there's some advantages they can take there. Obviously, if you just think about the defensive line, it's one of the best in the entire NFL, because if you try to double Bud Dupree or TJ Watt, that means you leave an easier matchup for Cam Hayward or Tua to eat. And Alu really shined at defensive tackle last week. I think he got a lot of pressure, some tackles for loss. I think they're all pretty set. Losing Hargrave sucked, but I don't think it hurt us as bad as maybe some people thought it would. So, yeah, and then in the secondary is good. They really kind of Tomlin admitted it, he kind of baited them out, left them out to dry last week because they were overcommitted to stopping the run, which is what they were trying to do because they figured Saquon would be the whole focal point of the offense. Obviously, the Giants were able to make some gains through the air, but that's because, like I said, they were focused on the run. So we'll have to see what they decide to do this week. Are they going to be fully committed to just shutting down Melvin Gordon again, or are they going to do a more balanced approach? We'll have to see kind of how it works out. Obviously, there's some more injuries to look at here. Not for the Steelers. Luckily, our defense is fully healthy, which is a beautiful thing to see as of right now. Knock on wood. But the Broncos are banged up, especially on that offense. You have 3 offensive players listed as questionable, and Cortland Sutton, which would be huge for this Broncos offense. They struggled a little bit in the passing game week 1 with Jerry Jeudy flashing, but also having some drop issues, which he needs to work on. Cortland Sutton's obviously a pretty good young wide receiver in this league, similar to Juju, and he's been questionable still. So we'll see if he plays. If he does, maybe he won't be at 100%, which would hopefully help that Steelers secondary kind of limit him as best they can. Philip Lindsey is out too. Luckily for the Broncos, bringing in Melvin Gordon means they still have a very solid starting capable running back on their team, but they won't have that two-headed punch that is very useful in keeping guys fresh and taking advantage of those tired defenses. Gordon did do well last week, 15 carries for 78 yards, a pretty solid game. Obviously, the Steelers defense, if you ask me, is better than that Titans defense, so we'll have to see how it goes for him. He did fumble at least once last week, and Pittsburgh had a pretty good knack for forcing turnovers last year, so hopefully they can keep that going. Maybe get a fumble and some picks out of someone. It'd be great to see. They had 2 interceptions last week. It'd be great to see the turnovers continue. So yes, Tyree Cleveland's just another receiver that's just kind of out, goes to show. They should they'll maybe have KJ Hamler ready to go, a rookie out of Penn State who's flashed some ability. Looks like more of an inside guy. Jerry Jeudy, like I said, flashed pretty decent in his first week, but the drops were an issue. We'll see if he can pick it up. But the secondary he's facing is no joke, and he'll definitely be better than the secondary they played last week. I believe the Titans didn't even have Adoree Jackson last week, so I think this secondary is more than capable of at least limiting these wide receivers. This Bronco wide receiver room does have plenty of potential, but it's banged up and very young, so we'll have to see how that matchup goes. I do like the Steelers. I mean, it's pretty safe to say the Steelers have a very good defense, and I'm pretty confident in them to get the job done. I look for them to try to disrupt Drew Lock as much as possible and force him to make some bad mistakes and get some turnovers off him. If we're looking at impact players, you can always pick the same ones kind of every time. This time, I'm going to say Minka Fitzpatrick. I hope he can kind of get it going. He had a really quiet game last week. Didn't see or hear anything out of him. I think they kind of avoided throwing his way, which would make sense. But hopefully he can be all over the place enough that Drew Lock maybe has to or make some mistakes. Like I said, I think the Broncos will probably have to try to get their passing game going if the run defense looks like it did last week. So look for the secondary to really need to step up this game, and hopefully guys like Minka can make some plays. Nelson and Hayden have tough task though, like I said, especially if Cortland Sutton's healthy. Whoever has to stay with Jerry Jeudy is going to be a tough ask. He's a very good route runner, and he's very fast. His problem's just been his hands so far. We'll see if he picks it up. Overall, Garrett Bowles being out would be huge for this Steelers team. Like I mentioned, the Broncos O-line was already nothing spectacular even with Garrett Bowles, but if you take him out, that just brings it down another level too, which would make it even easier for the Steelers defense to eat Bud Dupree or TJ Watt, whoever gets that side. So overall, this game, I would hope Pittsburgh wins this. 7.5-point favorites is actually pretty big if you ask me. But I do think it's week 2. Some of the rust has been shaken off, and hopefully the Steelers team can get in the high gear. We've had a knack of starting kind of rough, like our first 3 games of the year for a while now, but I think they can get it done. I'm going to go, let's see. I don't know if it'll be super high scoring. I do think the Broncos defense is still tough, even with how banged up it is. I'm going to go real conservative here and say Steelers 24, Broncos 14. As long as Steelers can limit some of those mistakes that put the defense in a bad spot, like that muffed punt, we should be in a good spot, and I think this defense is more than capable of holding them to less than 20 points. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching. Let me know how you think this game's going to go, what your score is, and yeah. I guess, real quick, I didn't mention the X Factors for the Broncos offense and the Steelers defense. Noah Fant is someone I completely forgot to mention. Noah Fant had a beast of a game last week, 5 receptions, 81 yards, and a touchdown. Pittsburgh's kind of been notorious under not Kevin Colbert, under Keith Butler. I don't know why his name slipped my mind. They've had tough times against these tight ends. It'll be a tough ask for Devin Bush, whoever they try to put on Noah Fant. I will say they did a pretty good job last week of shutting down Evan Ingram, which was something I really didn't expect. I thought Ingram probably would have had a good day against us. So we'll have to see how it goes, but I think they'd look for Noah Fant early and often. I think he's probably the most reliable target Drew Lock has at the moment. It might be somewhat of a security blanket, sort of how Ben had Heath Miller early in his career. So Noah Fant's my X Factor for that Broncos offense, and our game X Factor is Minka for the Steelers defense. Once again, like I said, let me know how you guys think this game's going to go. I got Pittsburgh winning it 24-14. I think it'd be great if we won by more, but it could be a close game. I would not be surprised, especially with just the way Pittsburgh is early in the year. But once again, thank you so much for watching. Let's hope this offensive line can hold up for us. It's going to be a real fun matchup. I think it'll be closer and more intriguing than last week's matchup. So thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Make sure to like and subscribe, please. It means a lot. Share this with your friends. This is KMA Preston signing out. Go Steelers.